Record that one. Okay, so 133, I kind of like the way the book has layered this, this chapter together, because as you do each section has either a link to the future or a link to the past. So this homework was like that. 1 through 16, even though it's new to us this year, it's a link to both the past and the future. It's a link to the past to Algebra 1. It's a link to the future because we have to be able to do the slope computations to do the next homework. So before we get out of this page, we need to truly make sure you're getting this 1 to 16 right. So tune this in, make sure you're doing the right thing. Let's resolve those issues, because if we're messing up slopes, it's going to blast us in the new homework. Anybody with confidence in their slopes, jump in at 1. We'll roll as far as you can roll. Yeah.
8.
8 is true.
1.
1 is true.
-1.
-1 is true.
0.
0 is true.
-1/2.
-1/2 is true.
4/3.
4/3 is true.
2.
2 is true.
6/5.
6/5 is true.
3/7.
3/7 is true.
-1/6.
That one's in the neighborhood. Let's get somebody to jump in on 10, and I was getting ready to call a timeout anyway.
-2/5.
-2/5, and then let me call a timeout. Those 10 are the most important 10, so if you got most of those right, we're probably good. Just see if you can spot what happened on the ones that went off a little bit. Does anybody on 1 to 10 need a strategic explanation of how to on any of that? Like I said, we're going to have to do that tonight. That's a key skill. Anybody need help building the skill 1 to 10? 11, we get into these fractions. That just makes life harder. So even if you have the skill, the fraction details just take this up a notch. We'll keep rolling with you.
1/2.
1/2 is true.
5/2.
5/2 is true.
2/5.
2/5 is true.
-1/4.
-1/4 is true.
Impossible.
Impossible is good.
0.
0 is good. I like that. That's very good. Does anybody need some help on those with the details of how to wade through all the fraction
What was 13?
part of
14?
life? 13 is 2 on top of 5. Do you need any details of how we got to that point? Anybody need any details of how we're getting to where we get? 17 to 32 is a link to the past, but not the future. X equals lines. When we graphed x equals lines, how did those go? They go that way. So a line that goes this way, what slope is that?
Impossible.
Impossible. So half of these answers are impossible. If you only see an x, that's going to be impossible. And then if you only see a y, it's going to be 0 because it's going the other way, and 0 slope looks like this. If your answers are all right, they form a little pattern for quite a while, and then at the end, the pattern breaks. Does anybody starting at 17 have your answers going in a little kind of like pattern for a while?
Is it going 2, 2, 2, 2?
For a while, yeah.
I got that up until like 26. No slope, 0 slope, 0 slope, 0 slope. No slope, 0 slope, 0 slope, 0 slope, no slope, no slope.
It'll even go a little farther than you went.
Yeah, after that that's where I got wonky, because
Okay.
I put...
What's happening on 25, if 25 started to confuse people, on 25 you could get the x alone. You don't necessarily even have to, but what you want to realize on 25 is you could make that equation be x equals something. It doesn't even matter what the something is. If you figured out the something, great, but if you didn't, 25 could be made x equals something. 26 could be made
Y equals... Oh, X equals something.
x equals something. 27 could be
Y equals
y equals something. 28,
Y equals something.
y equals something. 29,
Y equals something.
y equals something. 30, x equals something. 31,
X equals
x equals something. And then 32 is a little bit deceptive. Which variables can vanish out of 32?
X.
The x's can vanish. So 32 could be made y equals something. And anything that has just a y, again, the answer is going to be 0. And anything with just an x, the answer is
No slope.
no slope, impossible. So we have an alternating pattern that's impossible, impossible, 0, 0. How far will that pattern run?
So, like, 27.
Farther.
Oh, 29.
Up to 29. 20, the pattern gets broken on number 30. So it's impossible, impossible, 0, 0. Impossible, impossible, 0, 0. Impossible, impossible, 0, 0. And I'm sorry, 29 is where we break the pattern. 29 is a 0. And then how does the last 4 gonna go? 0, then 3 more. Impossible, impossible, 0. Question about that group at all? 33 is the hardest group, I think. So let me start to build the notes because this links forward into today. So if I'm asking you to find an equation, there's a certain form that we are going to use to do this. So there's something form, there's an equation, and what it's good for was writing equations. We put that on our vocab sheet yesterday that we're getting ready for a vocab quiz at the end of the chapter.
Point slope.
It is called point slope form. If you gain some experience over time, it's real obvious when you use point slope form. Somebody make it obvious for us. When do you use point slope form?
They give you a point, they give you a
They
slope.
give you a point and they give you a slope. So if they give you a point and they give you a slope, it's time for you to use point slope form. The equation for that?
Y minus y1 equals m in parentheses x minus x.
Correct. So every problem on this last group is going to be set up to start off looking like this. And then they wanted us to improve our answers slightly. What could we do always algebra move with anything that has parentheses there? Distribute. So you're going to, after you set this equation up, you'll have to do a distribute. And then since they're subtracting something, you're going to add. Because we're going to look to do the opposite. We're going to try to get this to a point where the y is alone. So we're going to take an equation that looks like this and get to a point where the y is alone by distributing and then adding a number over as an opposite. 33, anybody confidence in your y equals blah, 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 blah answer that you have?
4x minus 10.
That's true. Keep rolling.
Negative 2x plus 15.
True.
Negative 1x minus 7.
True.
3x plus 2.
True.
A half x minus 1.
Close. It is y
Half
equals
x
half
plus
x
7.
plus 7. True.
Negative 4/3 x minus 3.
Close.
Plus 3.
True.
Oh my gosh. Y equals negative 7.
True.
Y equals 9.
True. Good job.
Stupid signs, man.
Signs gotcha. Quick found them though. Does anybody need me to do one of those? That is also a necessary skill on today. The today homework very heavily is going to use the 1 to 16 slope building skill. Very heavily going to use the 33 to 40 equation writing using point slope form skill. That's 2 skills we're going to need to work out today some more. Does anybody need some help to skill build either of those 2 main items? Yeah.
38.
38. So 38, are you okay with why I'm going to start with a y plus 1? Then I'm going to fill in a negative 4/3. And then in the parentheses an x minus 3. Are you good with that? Is that okay? Did we find a mistake already?
Yeah,
Okay.
the numbers out.
I'll keep working it, but yeah, if we found it, we understand why I did this. Anybody on 38 not sure how I just used the point slope equation to do what I did? Then they're kind to you on most of the distributes. This number to distribute with the x, just put them next to each other. How are they kind to you with how this got set up by an author of the book?
They just canceled.
They created a nice cancel for you. The 3's are going to cancel, and you leave a 4. Just always be careful of your signs. Negative times negative, positive. And then to get rid of the add 1, subtract 1. So we're no longer a 4, but a 3. Good. Anybody else? Anything from the 133 homework? Something I can help you tune up before we use it some more today? Anything? Okay, make sure names are on there, send those down. If you're halfway done and need to touch some stuff up, we'll get your names in a minute when you're not recorded on a video for the rest of eternity. Or until YouTube goes out of business or is bought by someone else. So let's dig back in. If you have your notes paper that we partially filled in yesterday handy, maybe grab that. So we're going to fill in some more stuff on that today. We're going back. We'll start with forms of linear equations. So we yesterday said point slope form. We had this. It was good for writing equations. If we get stuff y equals, that's the most famous equation in Algebra 1. We've dropped this equation other days, but we've never officially learned it until today. So today, here it is. What's the most famous y equals equation in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Algebra, let's say?
Y equals mx plus b.
Y equals mx plus b. Where the m represents the slope, and what's the b? It is the y-intercept, is what that is. By y-intercept, I mean it's where the graph would touch the y-axis. What is that equation called? That is called slope-intercept. It's also not a giant mystery when you should use slope-intercept form. You usually use slope-intercept form if you are given a slope and an intercept. So the names were really well done by somebody. Sometimes things have kind of like difficult to remember names, like why is this called this? It's just sort of weird. The point slope form, that's a really great name. If they give you a point and a slope, you use point slope form. If they give you or want to receive from you a slope and a y-intercept, you use slope-intercept form. What I'm going to tell you slope-intercept form is good for is it's good for graphing. So some of you, I think, were using slope-intercept form even earlier in the chapter to graph. Okay, I was building a lot of tables. I think some of you were using slope-intercept form. That's fine. From here forward, some of our tables are going to go out of style. We're going to use slope-intercept form to graph. That'll be my final topic of the day when we get all the way down there. Just by way of review, what was the other form that we had first in this chapter from around like 3.2? Standard form. What was that equation?
Ax plus by equals 6.
That's true. And what was that good for finding?
Finding intercept.
That was good for finding intercepts. What I need to give you is the last one for that list. It doesn't have a name. And I'm going to say x equals. We have seen some lines in this chapter where the equation was x equals blah, 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 blah. When we got those x equal ones, how did we graph them? Not like x equals 2y plus 7. Like not just x equals 2. I agree with you. If it was just x equals 2, it goes straight up and down. But if it was like x equals 3y plus 4, any memory of how we graphed those earlier in our chapter life? To some degree, yeah. Anytime you have to graph something that's uncertain, what's your best tool to help you graph anything that you're like, I don't know what I got? Yeah, it's called a table. So we make a table, XY table. When it's X equals stuff, whether it's lines, U's, V's, steps, anything, if X is equal to stuff, you kind of have to make a table, and where does the 0, 1, 2 go? Go with the Y. Anytime it's Y equals life, you'll generally go table 0, 1, 2 for X. If it's X equals stuff, you do that 0, 1, 2 stuff for Y. If you just draw me that little diagram, I'm good with that. I know what you mean. If you rather write words than diagrams, you could write, make a table, pick numbers for Y. I understand words as well as I can understand little pictures. But that's our 4 answers for the very top of that vocab quiz. There's only 3 on the board because I didn't write standard form back up. I wrote that yesterday. But point slope is equation writing. Slope intercept is graphing. X equals, there is no name for that. But if you set anything X equals, make a table, pick some 0, 1, 2s for Y. Standard form was in the mix. Question about that? Okay. So here's our job. Using only skills from yesterday. I could have done this problem yesterday, but it's in today's homework. If I ask you to write an equation of a line that goes through these 2 points. We have all the skills we need to do that, we just haven't done that in the same problem yet this year. Can anybody figure out how in the world we could write an equation of a line that goes through those 2 points?
Find the slope of.
First, find the slope. Okay, so yesterday, given 2 points, you found slope. You did that 16 times to start the homework. So if they give you 2 points, we can use that to find the slope. Somebody, anybody, what's going to be the slope of that?
3.
3 is correct. On top, we could go maybe like 12 minus 3 to get 9. On the bottom, we could go 1 minus negative 2, get a 3, but the slope works out to be a 3. So we need to know the slope, and now we're in good shape for knowing the slope. Then how can you write an equation? Put it into point slope form. And you not only have 1 point to choose from, but you have 2. So pick either one. Some people might go y minus 3. Other people might go instead y minus 12. It doesn't matter. You just pick either way you want to go and just go with it. If you go y minus 3, in the parentheses, you'd go
X plus 2.
x plus 2. If you went y minus 12, the parentheses would go
X minus 1.
x minus 1. And in either case, who are you going to jam in there? The 3 for the slope.
Ooh.
Does anybody want me to explain point slope form, how I made the jump? Okay, so we're always going to go y minus a y number. So I could go grab the y minus 3 and I'm on this road. Or I could grab the y minus 12 and I'm on that road. After the equals, we always grab a slope. So we just a minute ago figured out the slope was 3. Were you with that? Okay, so 3 no matter what we're doing. And then in parentheses, we always go x minus the x friend. So if we're using the 3 to go here, we've got to use the negative 2. Subtracting a negative 2 minus minus makes it a plus 2. If we instead wanted to follow this path with the 12, then that's going to go x minus 1 because 12 was in the ordered pair with 1. Okay with that? In either case, what would we have to do to finish this?
Grab it. Oh, distribute.
First we distribute. So if we distribute here, that's
3x plus 6.
3x plus 6. We'd like to get the y completely alone, so add the 3. So 3x plus 9. If we tried to follow this path, the distribute would get
3x minus 3.
3x minus 3. To get rid of the 12,
Plus it.
add 12. If you add 12 to negative 3,
9.
it's still the same thing. Okay, so do you have to do both of these roads? No. If you want to be safe and secure on a quiz day or something, you could travel both roads. You know you're probably right if they match. If they mismatch, then something wrong probably happened. But just pick a path, either path. All roads should lead to the same answer. I can do another one if there's uncertainty, but the homework is to be on 138. We still have more to learn, but if you want to take a peek at where we're headed, make sure you're feeling ready for it. The first 12, they give you 2 points. They want an equation of a line. So you're going to have to find the slope like we did yesterday and today, and then point slope form. Good news is there's no fractions in those. Yesterday, a lot of the slopes, it got hard when they threw fractions in there. Everything on 1 to 12 it's all whole numbers today. Question about that skill? Okay, so that'll bounce over a column. If I want an equation of a line that goes through 0, 5 and has a slope of 2/3. Anybody have a suggestion on how I could find an equation of a line that goes through 0, 5 and has a slope of 2/3? We can go straight to slope-intercept form. I was expecting the first yell to probably be use point-slope form. Could we use point-slope form?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But this point is a special point called a y-intercept. The 5 is in the y position. This is a spot that touches the y-axis. So they're really giving us a slope, and they're giving us a y-intercept. So we can go straight to slope-intercept form. which always starts off with y equals, put the slope
X.
next to x,
Plus,
and then throw on a plus 5. That's the quickest way to go. If you did point slope form, would you end up there?
yes.
Yeah, it would just take you a minute. We have in parentheses a y, let's just do it anyway. We go y minus 5 equals
X
2/3
minus 0.
x minus 0. And then if you clean that up, x minus 0 is kind of silly. That's just
0. That was X.
x minus 0 is just x. So 2/3 x is established. And then to move them, subtract 5, add 5. We get there. If you have a slope and an intercept, that's the quickest way to go. Question there? I don't think there's any homework questions like that one. No, there are. Okay, I'm a little bit out of order from what the book is doing their order. 33 to 36, that's what you're doing. 33 to 36, they're giving you slopes and intercepts, and they want an equation, so you could just do what we just did a second ago. Question there? Third subject, and then we'll move into our last subject. They'll give you some equations, and they'll ask you to find the slope and the y-intercept. This is not the best form to find the slope or find the y-intercept. What would be the best form to find the slope or the intercept? The y equals the slope-intercept form. If they're asking you for slopes and intercepts, we want to get it the slope-intercept form. Get the y, which means get the y alone. So if you try to get the y alone, who's going where? What are you going to do in terms of your opposite doing? You subtract the 9x to get that out of there, so that's been relocated. Subtract the 12 to get that out of there. Who would sit for just a second while you did that?
What?
Not just 3y, negative 3y. So the 9x is positive, so that subtracts out. 12 was adding, that subtracts out. The negative 3 and the y can just wait. Then to get the y completely alone, divide it all by negative 3. So 9 becomes 3 plus 4. So then the slope is easy enough to find. It's 3. The slope's always the number
With the X.
with the x. The y-intercept
0, 4.
would be 0, 4. True story. Question about doing that? Let me graph that one here while I'm there. If you were going to graph this, do you first graph the y-intercept or first graph the slope? Intercept.
Dang it.
We're going to do the intercept first. Where is 0, 4?
Up 4.
Up 4. So we'll make a dot, and that's like our new origin. That's where our new home base is. Find the intercept. Then do the slope. Remember, the slope is the change in y over change in x. Maybe it helps to make this a fraction. It's invisibly on a 1. So if your y is changing 3, while your x is changing 1, your movement would be
Up 3 over right 1.
up 3, right 1. Make a line. Anything that's y equals that's aligned, we don't need tables anymore. You can just use the slope-intercept form. Something about that. So let's graph some more. So for this one, where are we going to head first?
Down 4.
Down 4. So we'll find that intercept. We're down 4. That's been handled first. And then how will the 2/3 steer you?
Up 2, right 3.
Up 2, right 3. Connect those with a line. I don't feel like doing a million different coordinate systems on my board, so I'm going to label them as I do them. That would be like graph A, so I can find it later. Something about graph A. So this one, where are you going to head? Up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bump. Down 2 over 3. And by over, we always are going to mean right. Because if you had a negative slope, sometimes with negative slopes, people feel like they should go left and down. Because that's negative is left, negative is down. So if we went down and left,
It's still positive.
that's a positive slope. Okay, positive slopes go uphill, negative slopes go downhill. You always want to go to the right as you move. If it's negative, go down instead of up. But we just said here, down 2, right 3, down 2, right 3. Make a graph, call that B. It's getting a little crowded, but I feel like I could probably squeeze in one more on that. For this one,
Down 3.
down 3. So there I am. Slope of 2. Make it a fraction if it helps you.
Up 2, right 1.
Up 2, right 1. Make a line, call that C. And I'm feeling like that's getting pretty crowded. I don't think I want a fourth line in there. This one,
Is that plus
up 1.
Down 3, right 1.
Down 3, right 1. Negative slope, we'll need to go down 3 while we go right 1. Call that D. Where are we going here?
It's gonna go up 5 over
Origin. There is no number added on, so really it's adding on 0 if you like that. So don't go anywhere. Just go to the origin as your home base.
Up 5, right?
Up 5, let me equal 5, and right 2. Call that E, and call it a day. So I'm going to change slightly what the directions are saying on the homework and add on an instruction to practice our graphing a little bit. The syllabus, I believe, has this switch on it. But homework 138, we're going to go to 36 with the added direction, and feel free to write in your book this direction, because as long as I'm doing this, I'll add on this direction to this group. On 13 to 30, we're going to graph some of them. So here's the ones I'm looking to graph. Does the syllabus have the graph list?
Is it?
13 through 20?
Yeah, I got that.
21, 23, 25, 27, 28. So that's our graph list.
It's on the
But
syllabus.
feel free to write that in the book. Syllabus has it, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But you can just write it in the book as well if you want to. So we're going to graph 13 to 20. Then we're going to graph some of the rest. 21, 23, 25, 27, and 28. So we're not graphing the whole section, but we're skip graphing some of them. Basically, if they're y equals, I'm graphing them. If they're not y equals, I wasn't going to make you graph them. But a couple of them I made you do y equals. So homework preview, 1 to 12 is like the first problem I did over there. When you're given 2 points, you can always find the slope. The slope is the most important thing in the chapter. So on 1 to 12, given 2 points, find the slope, and then write an equation using the point-slope equation. From 13 to 30, you need to make the equations y equals like I did, or maybe they're already y equals like these were, and then they want you to write down the slope, they want you to write down the intercept once it's y equals. So you're going to have to work a little harder from 19 through 30, because they aren't y equals right away. Okay, 19 to 30, you'll have to make them all be y equals before you can do anything else. The way here, this had to be y equals before we did anything else. Well, we're going to write down the slope, we're going to write down the intercept on all of them, and then we're going to graph some of them. Just skip 31 and 32, I don't care about those. 33 to 36, we're going to write an equation like we did in the top middle. So it asks, if they give you the slope and the intercept, you should be able to quickly write the equation. But that's 138. We're going to skip 31 and 32. They're acting like it's a special treat to use a calculator. But they give you these decimal numbers that when you use your calculator, the decimal answer when you solve is going to be like this long. I don't see the value in doing that. So skip 31, 32. Vocabulary quiz we were filling in. I don't think there were any other ones we can do.
24.
Were there any more vocabulary answers that we could do? 24? Okay, yeah, let's do that. Grab my answers and come back into the camera line. Yeah, we could do 24. So what would 24 go?
Y equals 3 plus 5.
Y equals
3 plus 5. 3x plus 5.
3x plus 5. Yeah, 24y would equal 3x plus 5. We could do 25. Let's do 25. How would we start off doing 25? Or no, we did that already. We did 25. Never. I take that back. So what I think we're left with,
19, 20.
19, 20, and I think that's tomorrow's lesson.
For 1 through 11, I know we haven't done them all yet, but I've only gotten 4 so far.
We do, yeah. We have standard form. Do you have that one?
Yes.
And we have point slope form. Do you have that one?
Yeah.
Okay, then today we just added in slope intercept, and then that x equals thing. It didn't have a name.
Okay.
So if you copy those bottom 2 lines, the slope intercept 3 facts, and then the x equals 2 facts.
Okay.
Anybody else vocab fill in anything on that? The other thing I have that I can give you if you want it, there was a year that for some reason I was not in school. I don't know if I was sick or I had a meeting or what I had. I typed up a sheet of notes for the sub to just give the students and said basically teach yourself how to do this. So there's explanation paper of teach yourself how to do this I could give you if you want it, but we can cut the record in the meantime.